exciting edition of Radio Biafra live presentation on this very day, the last day of the second month of the year 2020 that Elohim Chukwukika Biama has made, with the time now standing at precisely 10 minutes past 7 p.m. in the blessed land of Biafra. I welcome each and every one of you listening. I welcome those who have joined us from the far-flung reaches of this very planet, regardless of where you are. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you. We are under very serious and sustained attack this very evening. Some of you who are listening via Radio Biafra Facebook platform, you will notice that some of you are being removed unceremoniously. Our enemies are not relenting. Our enemies are not backing down. And as they continue to do all they can to frustrate this very divine project, we are renewed in our faith. Our strength goes from bound to bound, leap upon leap, because we are relentless, we are resolute, we are determined. It does not matter what the enemies do. It doesn't matter what they are likely to do tomorrow. One thing remains very constant. This very family, this very IPOB, this very mission to restore upon this very earth the wish of heaven must be accomplished in our time. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the very special grace of the Almighty in heaven, Chukwukika Biama Purimi Henine, irreducible, indivisible, only one God, the creator of everything that we see around us. Only by his grace shall we continue to serve the wonderful people of Biafra. As I welcome you, I will encourage you to welcome those who are around you. I will also ask you to bring your pen and your paper handy, because this is the very greatest university on the face of this very earth. We propagate the gospel of truth, the gospel of redemption. What this very generation is at the threshold of accomplishing has never been done before. And after we are gone, it can never ever be attempted, because those we are fighting, or should I say those who are fighting against us, have limitless resources. They are buoyed by their criminal mindedness. They are encouraged by their terrorist tendencies. They are enthused by the support they are getting from Britain. But I sit here this very evening behind this very microphone, this very platform ordained by heaven to proclaim that no matter what they accomplish, no matter their plans, regardless of their conspiracies, regardless of everything within their powers they intend to do to stop this very project, they can never, ever, ever succeed, because IPOB is here. Because IPOB is here, Biafra is also here. And in our time, and the will of heaven shall prevail upon this very earth. That is why this evening I will pray a very common prayer to convey this very fact, to convey the inescapable reality that there is only one God in heaven, not two, not three, not four. Therefore, I will say the prayer of Yeshua. I will say the prayer of those who have come before us. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this very day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever, we pray. I say this very prayer this evening for one very simple reason: to underline the fact that there is only one God in heaven, not two, not three, not four. Everything that is born of a woman will bow before God in heaven. And why have I chosen this as an opening remark this very evening? Is to drive home the very fact that we anchor all we do on the grace and the mercy of God in heaven. Elohim Chukwokikabiamapurumiyanina, without whom we cannot accomplish anything. That is why we pray to him and to him alone, as Yeshua did in times gone by. Therefore, this very evening we shall preach the gospel of redemption, the gospel of restoration, the gospel of renewal, the gospel of hope, the gospel of liberation, that those who are privileged to listen might be set free from the damnable bondage of the zoological republic created by Britain and sustained by neocolonialists, those who seek to gain from the suffering of the masses. That is why Biafra will come, and with it freedom for everybody. I say freedom for everybody, not just for the very few, but for all. This very evening, if you do not have your pen and paper handy, if you are not ready to receive this very gospel, then there is something fundamentally wrong with you. Because a lot is wrong with Nigeria, a lot is wrong with the zoo. People are being slaughtered like flies all over the place. Impunity upon impunity, iniquity upon iniquity, damnation upon damnation, terrorism upon terrorism, the likes that this very generation has never seen nor heard before. Evil is happening on a daily basis. They have constrained themselves with lies that they can no longer see the truth, but we must preach it. And very hastily, I must say, we go and we start with Imo State this very evening. The installation of a caliphate stooge, the imposition of a Fulani servant, that very sadly some of you, because of money, because of what you can gain from any incoming administration, you have refused to stand up to speak the truth concerning the travesty of justice, concerning the evil that is happening in Imo State, which once again next week, the Supreme Court of the Zoo will have an opportunity to revisit. And they must revisit it. What we are trying to say this evening is that they only have one verdict to come to. We have analyzed, we have distilled, we have extrapolated all the figures, we have in every sensible way dissected the judgment, should I say, the skewed judgment of the zoo in relation to Imo State gubernatorial elections. There is only one way out for them. I do not want those people with their horse wig who will be sitting sometime next week to determine what becomes of Imo State to think that the judgment they obtained in relation to Bayelsa applies in the case of Imo State. It is very clear. What they are looking for is not any other part of Biafra land. What they wish to occupy is Owerri. For very spiritual reasons that some of you who are blind in spirit cannot see. The caliphate needs Owerri very much. They believe that if they can strangulate us from Owerri, we will collapse in all other areas. Bielsa is not important to them. What they are looking for is Imo State. I do not want people to be misled or led astray by the judgment that obtained in the Bielsa case and use that to justify what happened in Imo State. Hope Uzodinma is a stooge of the Fulani. He is a caliphate servant like his predecessor, should I say, the one that left there a while ago, Rochas Okorocha, as some of you know. We cannot allow whatever their plan may be regarding Imo State to stand. So we are warning everybody listening. We are warning the whole world. I do not know who Emeka Ihedioha is, and frankly speaking, I do not care. What we care about is the welfare of our people, and what happens in Imo State affects everybody. Once you allow a Fulani stooge to be planted in Imo State, the same thing that happened to the Yorubas during the time of Afonja will happen to us. Hope Uzodinma cannot be there. That we are assuring the world. Let those who do not understand where we are going be very clear about this. That what happened in Imo State cannot be allowed to stand. In order to avert disaster and chaos, the Supreme Court of Nigeria must do the needful. The least they can do, I'm offering them a way out this very evening, is to call for fresh elections in Imo State. That is the only thing, that is the only sensible solution. There is no other justifiable reason to throw out figures that are not supported by those who are responsible for ensuring that elections are conducted in that very place, in this case, INEC, and the police for that matter. The figures upon which the Supreme Court of Nigeria is basing the skewed judgment or trying to seek the justification of the imposition of Hope Uzodinma on the people of Imo State cannot be sustained. It is unsustainable in law. It is unsustainable in common sense. It is unsustainable before heaven. It is unsustainable before man on this very earth. Therefore, we reiterate very, very clearly and unambiguously that justice must be served. There is no need for them to seek to hide behind the fact that it is the Supreme Court of Nigeria. We cannot revisit past cases. That is absolute nonsense. You cannot base a judgment on lies and deceit. If they attempt, I repeat, if they attempt to justify the imposition of the caliphate servant, the man they have planted in Imo State to deliver the Islamization and the Fulanization of Biafra land, if they allow or seek to allow Hope Uzodinma to remain in power, anything they see, they will take. We are warning the whole world. We are a peaceful movement. But one thing we cannot tolerate is for a bunch of people in Sokoto, in Kanu, in Katsina, and in Abuja to determine what happens in Biafra land. It cannot happen. Hope Uzodinma cannot remain there because the people did not vote for him. The people do not like him. As a matter of fact, no APC candidate was voted even to the House of Assembly. Forget the fact that they're now cross-carpeting to APC due to greed and hunger. Tomorrow they will come out and tell us that they're leaders. You can see the way they are behaving. There are some people on social media with fake Igbo names, trying to shore up support on social media platforms for Hope Uzodinma. It is not going to work. We know who you are, all of you, from top to bottom. Nobody voted for Hope Uzodinma to be in Douglas House, and he cannot be there. If they attempt, any attempt, all the judges sitting on the case come next week Tuesday, any attempt to justify the imposition of Hope Uzodinma, I will dissect the judges one after the other. No stone will be left unturned. So we are warning them that they may know before we commence our work. And as a reminder to those who may seek to use the Bielsa precedent to apply to Imo State. In Imo State, the facts are very clear. The Supreme Court of Nigeria lied when they inflated the number of registered and certified voters in Imo State. The Supreme Court of Nigeria lied. And I will spend the rest of my life ensuring that not one single judge from Nigeria travels abroad anymore. Should this travesty be allowed to stand, I will make it a point of duty. This very noble family, this very IPOB, we would relentlessly pursue each and every single judge that will sit in judgment or seek to sustain this falsehood and evil. There is no way the Supreme Court of Nigeria can know the number of people that voted. The only agency, the only authority charged with making sure that the accurate number of people that voted in an election is reflected in every legal process or proceeding is INEC. And INEC have come out to say, as flawed as they are, as corrupt as they are, they have come out to say that the number of accredited voters being quoted by the Supreme Court of Nigeria did not come from them. The only thing I want the Supreme Court to consider is, where did you get your figures from? From where did you get those figures upon which you based your justification of the return of Hopus or the Imo State? From where did you get it? You are not INEC officers. You are not the police. You are not there in the polling stations. You do not know. Forget the fact that APC, Ondo, Shomole have gone and concocted and printed ballot boxes and now have forced you to try and admit those as evidence. They cannot be. The only people allowed by law in Nigeria to tell us how many people that actually voted in the zoo is INEC. And INEC have come out repeatedly to say that the figures being touted by the Supreme Court is null and void because they are false. In other words, the Supreme Court of Nigeria is involved in fraud. They are involved in electoral banditry. They are involved in ballot box kidnapping. The Supreme Court of Nigeria, in seeking to spread Islam through the judiciary, is seeking to, of course, plant Hopus at the mind in Imo State to do the bidding of the Sultan of Sokoto, Abakari, and all the rest of them. It is not going to work. Let the world not say we did not warn them. Let nobody come back and say that we are not peaceful anymore. You cannot steal the mandate of the people and expect them to be quiet. It is not possible. Absolutely impossible. That is the only point upon which the world will agree with us, that indeed Nigeria is a zoo. We will not allow it to happen. We are therefore reminding everybody involved in this very case that the Supreme Court of Nigeria lied, that they deceived themselves and not the masses. They deceived themselves. All they tried to do in Bielsa is a diversion. So that when people go to court on Tuesday, they will say, oh, can't you see Bielsa? We cannot tamper with our judgment. That is rubbish, because your judgment is based on lies and falsehood. These are no longer points of law. Simple arithmetic. How many people were accredited? Sometimes people get carried away by convoluted grammar. Keep the facts very, very simple. How many people voted in Imo State? How many people were accredited by the agency recognized by law to accredit voters, which is INEC? How many people voted? The numbers are very vivid and very clear. How many people is it that the Supreme Court have now determined that voted? It is more than the number accredited by INEC. In other words, every judgment reached by the Supreme Court of Nigeria is null and void. It is based on falsehood, on lies, on deception and trickery. We will not allow it. We are just warning the whole world so that they will know. The only way out for them, as I keep saying, is to call for fresh elections, to say there are so many ambiguities that a fresh election is the only way forward, the only viable solution. That is the only way to resolve it. Anything else will be completely and utterly unacceptable because nobody voted for Hope Uzodimma. He shouldn't be there and will not be there. The killing in the zoo have continued unabated. As people are continuing to point out, and as I have observed, of course, very painfully, CNN hasn't covered it. BBC is not covering it. All of those foreign news agencies that black people in Africa rely upon to get their news or what they call accurate information, none of them is reporting it, and we all know the reason why. The Nigerian government is borrowing money to bribe CNN, to bribe BBC, to bribe the UK High Commissioner in Nigeria, to bribe the staff at the US Embassy in Abuja and their consulate in Lagos. We know all of this. To bribe the EU representatives and every foreign mission in the zoo. That is why they keep borrowing money. To bribe diplomats, to bribe observers, to bribe policymakers and independent commentators on what is happening in the zoo. That is why every blessed day, killing after killing after killing of innocent people, Judeo-Christians, are not being reported by the so-called mainstream media. And they will not be. Now, it is very evident and very clear to those of them who reside in the Middle Belt, who were foolishly convinced between 1966 and 1970 that the Igbos and indeed the wider Biafran family were the problem. Today, they can see very clearly that that is not the problem. And I will recommend that they apologize unreservedly to the people of Biafra for betraying them. Because I find it very bizarre that those who are at the forefront of subjugating people, those who are at the forefront of stealing the resources of people, those who are at the forefront of reintroducing primitivity to day-to-day life in Nigeria, the same people in the past that said that Igbos are trying to dominate, the essence of Biafra is to try and dominate others. I ask all those people, can you see what is happening now? The same person that came to you and said to you that Igbos are your problem are the same people now slaughtering you in your farms. They are now the same people seizing your land for Ruga. They are the same people bringing terrorists from across the Sahel to flood into your towns and your villages to massacre you. This should teach us a lesson. When somebody comes to you and says that that person there who hasn't done anything to you is your problem, you know that the person telling you that sitting in front of you is actually the problem. You must understand that. When somebody comes to you and says to you, oh, IPOB is the problem, look at that person very carefully. That person is the problem. Why am I saying this? Look at what happened between 1966 and 1970. How those who conducted a coup in the name of patriotism and love for Nigeria were branded Igbo coups. How immediately after the coup and the massacre of Biafrans, the place where Nzogwu comes from is no longer Igbo. But because of Nzogwu, they said that it was an Igbo coup. After the war, the place that Nzogwu comes from is no longer Igbo. That is how they reason. That is how the Janjaweed, the Fulani Caliphate, that's how they reason. That's how they've been manipulating each and every one of you. That was how they successfully turned Awolowo against Ojukwu. Turned the entire Middle Belt, all the Christians of the Middle Belt, Danjuma and all the rest of them, even go on, turn them against their fellow Christians from Biafra land. But you know, our God is very miraculous, exceptionally miraculous. Every pain inflicted upon Biafra, I want Fulani jihadists to listen very, very carefully. Every pain, every ill-conceived thought, every evil that they perfect plan and execute against Biafrans will rebound on them. That is rebounding on them. Biafrans were in refugee camps for less than 3 years. But today, Janjaweed Alamajiri in the north of Fulani and their vassals in the north, they have been in IDP camps now. They call it, they don't want to call it refugee camps, of course. They call it, the name, you know, that is one thing I keep saying to Yoruba media. Stop helping Abakari and the Fulani cabal set the pace and agenda of reasoning and thought within the zoo. From refugee camps, they called it IDP camps. From terrorists, they now call them bandits. And once they trot out all this garbage with brown envelope, Yoruba journalists fall over themselves to do the bidding of Abba Akiari and the Fulani cabal in Asorok. These are the same people responsible for the rigging of elections in the zoo, responsible for the ongoing relentless mass massacre of Judeo-Christians in Nigeria. These are the people who are responsible for telling you who your governor should be. These are the people who are against Amoteku. These are the people who are against self-defense. They give AK-47 assault rifles to Fulani headsmen to go and kill and pillage at will. Any attempt by law-abiding citizens to defend themselves is frowned upon. I find it utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. But that is what is happening in the zoo. That is what is happening in the zoo, and we must be alive. Let me just paraphrase Ahmadu Bello. We must be alive to our responsibilities. We must be alive because things are happening and people are, in fact, as I said it before, there should be a DNA test. I'll be going to the USA very soon, and in USA, I will make sure that we patent a DNA testing kit for some of our people in Biafra land, because the level of evil we are now prepared to tolerate is unbelievable. What is happening to us now is unbelievable, and we cannot allow it to stand. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We have been singing and crying on the same tune day after day, year after year, before people woke up. The same way that people are waking up today, that zoo called Nigeria, the British colonial experiment, is being torn apart by terrorists, Islamic terrorists, or should I say Fulani terrorists from the north, is how the same is very soon, not too distant future, you all come to realization as well that the man in Asorok you call Buhari is indeed Jubril al-Sudani. One day, when we are warning about the Islamic, or should I say Islamist tendencies of APC, none of you believed us. When we say that this was a very despotic regime that have come to destroy people, you didn't believe. It took you nearly 5 to 6 years. Now they're slaughtering you in your kitchens, now in your farms, they are raping your mothers. It has now come full circle that what this Nnamdi Kanu was saying many years ago is actually true. It has dawned on everybody, to the point now that even New York Post, the New York Post, have recognized the fact that that Fulani people are destroying Christian communities in Nigeria. They have written about it. And this evening, as I've always done, I will say to President Donald Trump that the only thing you can do is to appoint a special envoy who can give you accurate, objective, unbiased assessment of what is happening on the ground. Because the U.S. Embassy in Abuja and Lagos, they are all very corrupt. They will never send the accurate report to the State Department in Washington. Never, ever, ever. What is needed is a special envoy to be appointed by President Donald Trump and assigned to come and investigate firsthand what is happening on the ground. The UN have done their bit through the office of Ms. Calamard, arbitrary detention, torture, and summary execution. They wrote their report and said that Nigeria is a ticking time bomb. Now it is clear to everybody. When we said that Nigeria was a failed state, some of you were up and down, jumping, because of course you are monkeys, you know nothing. Today, has it not come to pass? Everything we have said has come. I will never get tired of saying it. Everything we have said has come to pass. And of course, Facebook is very seriously tampering with our broadcast, or should I say our transmission on Radio Biafra page. It's very, very sad. It's very, very sad that the Yoruba people that work for Facebook will not allow peace to reign. They will continue to present themselves as willing tools of the North in order to further their agenda of subjugation and repression of every other ethnic group. That is why Yoruba people working for Facebook in Nigeria will devote their time to making sure that the gospel we preach doesn't get to people listening via Radio Biafra page on Facebook. Very, very sad indeed. When I started this very program today, the number of listeners, or should I say what I saw here, the very first minute was 1.4 thousand people. Now it is 271. In other words, Facebook is actually removing people or stopping them from listening to this very broadcast this very evening, but they can't stop us. They know we are unstoppable. I am going to look at what the New York Post wrote about the Fulani, the Janjaweed. Those that some of you said is APC, he's a general, he's coming, he will clean corruption and all the rest of it. Cleaning corruption. Corruption, war against corruption targeted at other ethnic groups within Nigeria. Ojo Zokali is in prison. Olisametu is also in prison. And I say to our people, that is the price you pay. That is the price you pay for not recognizing that the only solution to the problem in the zoo is that we must go our separate ways. That is the only solution. That is the only solution. Some of you are in the north rejoicing, the poverty-stricken, semi-arid northern part of the zoo called Nigeria, that Olisametu was jailed. And I ask you, some of you don't even know the facts behind the imprisonment of Olisametu. Olisametu is in jail today because he dared, as an opposition spokesperson in 2015, to question or to expose, should I say, the administration of the late Buhari. That was his crime, for speaking out as an opposition leader against APC regime. They picked him up. He was convicted of embezzling 400 million naira, which is $1.something million. Chicken change to these arch Fulani looters in the zoo. Chicken change. How did Olisametu, I'm sorry to digress everybody, it's very, very important I touch upon this very evening. How did Olisametu come in possession of 400 million naira? It was given to him. So they claim by the office of the then National Security Advisor, Dasuki, to run campaign for PDP. Olisametu did not go and steal money from anybody. Olisametu did not go anywhere and embezzle money. Money he was called to Asorok and a check for 400 million given to him to go and run PDP campaign. Not that he stole any money like Abacha. Not that he stole any money like Aisha Buhari. Some of you don't know this Halliburton's bribery scandal. Aisha Buhari, the wife of the late Buhari, cannot travel to the USA because of Halliburton bribery scandal. The late Buhari, some of you have forgotten the missing suitcases. You have forgotten what he did with PTF fund Because some of you are blind. You are in a zoo and you all behave like wild beasts in a cage. You do not reason. Is Abdul Salami Abubakar not corrupt? Is Babangida not corrupt? How did Dangote make his money? Dangote is a front for money laundering. Don't you all know that? What was he doing before he became a billionaire? What was his track record in business before he became a billionaire? Some of you cannot reason because you are in a zoo. You are in Nigeria. You are animals. You cannot reason very well. What was he doing before he became a multi-billionaire? Nothing. What was Babangida doing? These are people that looted money, that stole money. Go to the north. Ganduje, all of them. Olisametu is in jail. He was called to Aso Rock and given a check of 400 million to go and run a campaign, which is, I think it's about about $1.1 million. Nothing in the scheme of things. And he was given 7 years imprisonment, and nobody can speak. Of course, apart from IPOB and Nnamdi Kanu, nobody can speak for him. Nobody can, because they are all puppets of the caliphate. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to offend them in the north before they call me at Supreme Court and take away my mandate. They cannot speak. And as they have frightened and cowed all of you into submission, they now pick you off one after the other. One after the other. All Abacha children were implicated. Abacha's wife was also implicated in the Abacha loot. Are they in jail? Of course, the answer is no. But Olusametu is in prison. That is why we say to them, that place you're going, that's your one Nigeria mantra, that's your Abuja tendency, that's your Lagos mentality, cannot save you. As Mazi Nnamdi Kanu informed Zeke in those days, the only thing that can save you is back home, is Biafra. Your own thing is your own thing. Our thing is our thing. Biafra is your own. Nigeria is our own. And we know what happens when you begin to use those terms to describe anything you have. You know you have nothing. When you say it's our own, you know you have nothing. But when you say something is my own, of course, you are in possession of it. Today, whilst they are diverting your attention with slaughter upon slaughter of the innocent, they are picking up your people one after the other. One after the other. And imposing the likes of Hope Uzodinma on you. Because they know we are very foolish. We say it is the will of God. People are so hungry that their brain no longer functions very well. I have said this before and I'll keep saying it. There is something wrong with the brain of an African person. I keep every blessed broadcast, I keep saying it. Go and we should look at ourselves very well. Something wrong with us. You are telling me that if it were Biafrans that floated 4 terror groups, it's only IPOB agitating peaceful and everywhere is on fire. You see, every day is IPOB is the problem. Now the Fulanis have 5 terror groups. I said 5 terrorist groups. And they're telling you that they're entitled to rule Nigeria. It's their turn to rule. They must continue ruling. They gave you 5 terror groups slaughtering you in your kitchen. As you sleep, they come, they slit your throat. And some people are just sheepishly, you wake up in the morning, you go to work like an idiot, you come back in the evening. You digest the news from the fake platforms they have like Channels TV. You have no conscience. You don't reason. You don't think for yourself. Absolutely not. Any rubbish they churn out, you absorb and you swallow. Hook, line, and sinker. Every day, you diminish yourself further. Every day, you reduce your standing as a human being. Every day you gravitate more and more towards the animal kingdom because you cannot reason. That is why petroleum comes out of the ground in our land. We do not see it. They take it to the north. They sell it. They make Dangote billionaire. They make Alakeja billionaire. They have billionaires all over the place. There is no billionaire, oil billionaire in Biafra land. Not one single soul. And the people of Southern, I said, a few of them, will be saying, oh no, it is our oil. You don't see it. You are an ordinary pipeline guard. You are a non-entity. You are a stain on the landscape. Who did this to us? I have no idea. But I'm glad that today, because of the work that we have done in Washington, D.C., because of the work we continue to do around the capitals of the world, because of the work that this very great family, this IPOB, continually does. The Washington Post, no, in fact, New York Post have now recognized that there is a problem in the zoo called Nigeria, that they're killing people, as we told you that they would. They say that it was fate that compelled us to travel to Nigeria last week to see for ourselves the simmering crisis threatening parts of Africa's wealthiest and most populous country. Do not stand by idly. The book of Leviticus commands, when the blood of your neighbor is being spilled, you do not stand idly by and watch. 1966, when Igbo people and Biafrans were being slaughtered in the north, the Christians in the Middle Belt stood idly by and was watching. I was even clapping. They did rail block, not road block, in the Middle Belt then. They stop every passenger train coming down from the north. They segregate Igbo people from the rest, and they slaughter the Igbo people. Today they are being killed. You see how funny this life is. As they say, what goes around comes around. Everybody now is being affected. There is one thing I expect the likes of Obasanjo to rise up and say. The likes of T.Y. Danjuma that killed Aguirre, they've not used the right words. Rather than walking around, fooling yourself, saying you're praying for peace in Nigeria, just come and say, I am very, very sorry. We killed the innocent in 1966. We killed the innocent between 67 and 70. We shed blood of 5 million people for nothing. Biafrans are innocent, and may God forgive us. That is the sort of prayer I expect them to be praying every day. Not telling you that is one Nigeria, let's pray for Nigeria to be one. Because where the zoo is today, where by the grace of Elohim, IPOB have pushed the zoo to, there is no return, no coming back. The zoo is gone. As I preach, write it down on a piece of paper, the zoo is gone, never ever to come back. All of you that you say, oh, we are Christian, we are this, you quote the Bible. I am quoting what Americans said. Some religious leaders from America came to the zoo. They said, do not stand idly by when the blood of your neighbor is being spilled. That is what IPOB have stood on. Or should I say, continue to stand upon. That is why we are as objective as possible. If you do what is right, we praise you. If you misbehave, of course, we tell the world who you are. Do you know what they said? These Americans, when they came to the zoo a few days ago, they said that blood is flowing like a river throughout Nigeria. But I'm asking the US ambassador, why would it take people to come all the way from America to Nigeria to chronicle the horrors and atrocities of Fulani people against the innocent? What is your job as an embassy? Does it mean that all the dispatch you've been sending to State Department doesn't contain all these things? This is what New York Post is reporting, that blood is flowing like a river. I'm saying it for those who wake up on Monday morning and go to work and pretend this is our country, this is our Nigeria. That even the white people that created you, Nigerians, they see rivers of blood in the damnable British colonial experiment called Nigeria. But you cannot see because you're blind. You cannot see it because you are black, to be honest with you. I'm being very honest. You know, we are a bit daft, we black people. Very, very daft indeed. That is the truth. And our daftness is showing. It is now taking white people from America to come and tell us that we're in a mess. Very sad indeed, isn't it? Do you know what they said? Who are the people doing the killing in Nigeria? I want you to look at your neighbor, your friend tonight and ask them, who are the people actually doing the killing in Nigeria? Is it IPOB? Is it Biafran people? Is it Yoruba people? Is it Bini people? Who are the ones actually doing the killing in Nigeria? You will all find out that those doing the killing, they are all from one place, from one region. Every terror group you know today in Africa is from these same people. these Fulani people. And you are all pretending. You are blind. You cannot see the truth. Oh, it's IPOB. We need to do something. This IPOB. The people slaughtering you, you cannot see them. Do you see how foolish the devil has made all of you? The devil has made all of you very foolish. Very, very foolish and blind. And you're paying with your lives, aren't you? All of you. They said that dozens of victims shared accounts of almost incomprehensible suffering. Is it all the disappearances? The police will stop you on the road and take you. Nnamdi is still in detention for no reason. It's in Nigeria. Anybody can arrest you. Our people were arrested in Owerri for no reason. They had no hand in a crime they claim were perpetrated by some people. They just see you on the road and they take you. Go and tell a family to bring 250,000 and that's the end of it. It is one, Trump called it a shithole and I think was being very kind. The place is a hellhole. It is awful. To say you are a Nigerian is the greatest, I don't know, is the greatest idiocy going at the moment, I presume. The greatest idiocy. For anyone, after seeing what is happening, you say, I'm a Nigerian, let's pray for Nigeria. That is why I keep asking God in my next life, I don't want to come as a black person. I'm better off as a tree in the forest. At least when they cut me down, they can use me as center table or use me as a chair, I'll be useful. The way some of us reason, to be quite honest with you, I won't blame them if they come back again and start slavery all over, to be honest with you. Our reasoning actually stinks. Boko Haram is from Fulani. It's Fulani creation, created by Buhari, the late dead Buhari, buried in Saudi Arabia. I will keep telling you this all the time. You know it is the truth. Of course, as our dear father said, Paya de Banjo, all of them know that Buhari is dead. So you're telling me that even, you see, Fulani have instilled so much fear in an ordinary, useless Nigerian that even when Buhari is gone, ordinary Abakiyari, they're afraid of him. They're afraid of Buratai. They're afraid of Mongunu. They're afraid of Zid Garubashiru. That one that looks like a tortoise. Not a Kambe. They're afraid of him. So even when the so-called hardened general is no more around, people have been so scared. Nigerians have been so terrorized mentally, especially Yoruba media, Yoruba journalists, that they're even afraid of Abakiyari, that they cannot speak the truth, which is this man who cannot speak Fulfude anymore. This man who no longer speaks his local dialect in Fulani. Are you sure it's the same Buhari that was here before? They dare not ask. Instead, the Yoruba journalist will collect money, put in his pocket, and be writing rubbish. Do you see that we are surrounded by evil on all corners? I speak the truth. If I'm lying, you come and you tell me I'm lying. But you all know I'm speaking the truth. A 9-year-old girl told this American delegation how they were watching terrorists murder her parents. A 9-year-old girl. They used machete to slice them to pieces in Nigeria. And somebody will travel to Europe and I'm a Nigerian and I'm proud. I'm a Nigerian. I say, do you have no shame inside you? Do you have no shame inside you? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. A pastor whose church had been destroyed twice met with this same delegation after negotiating the release of 2 female parishioners kidnapped by Fulani bandits while going to a Christmas celebration. When, you know, some of you may be wondering why are all these things coming out now. They are coming out because of IPOB. We are in America and we did a lot of work, a lot of job, I'm telling you the truth. A lot of work. Sensitizing and informing American lawmakers, clergy, right across America. I need you to come up tomorrow. I don't know what this IPOB is doing. But all of a sudden you can see it. As a result of our diplomatic offensive, the whole world now knows that Nigeria is a complete and utter mess. That was why when Jubril al-Sudani, when Abakiyari, I should say, met the new American ambassador through Jubril, They said, don't listen to those people. They're only presenting a side of the story. What they're telling you is not balanced. They tell you that they're marginalized and you believe them. These are the facts on the table. Because of IPOB now, the whole world have seen the zoo for what it is. A monstrous creation by Britain. And Britain think they will have peace. I told you people before, Britain can never have, they think they can have peace. They think they can deceive the monkey, those black monkeys from Africa and get away with it, but they can't. I'm a British citizen, of course, and I'm an Anglophile in every sense of the word. I still maintain that they are civilized people, but there are monsters within. There are monsters within. A 9-year-old girl, because of your one Nigeria, watched her parents being sliced to death because of one Nigeria. Had Nigeria not existed, do you think all this nonsense would be happening? Of course it wouldn't happen. And my submission to the US government is this. If you want to stop the bloodshed in Nigeria, you must ask for a referendum to be conducted. Let's see who would want to be a Nigerian. Conduct a referendum, let us see. I know that the lazy people who depend on oil for everything, from toothpick to toothpaste, I know they will say, no, we must have access to our oil. That is the only thing stopping them. People are being kidnapped every day. People, Fulani terrorists, set up checkpoints near a police station. People will go there, they will kidnap them, they will rape them, they will kill them. Near a police station. And who is the police commissioner? He's a Fulani man. Arrest those people, they will tell you, no, don't touch them all. Order from above, order from Abuja, release all of them. And I keep asking you, how many, all these killings going on, how many times have you heard that there is a Fulani man standing trial for murder in Nigeria? None. But Toli Sametu is in jail. Otis Okalu is in prison. And you still believe in one Nigeria? May the good Lord have mercy upon your souls. Do I keep on recounting what happened? But I'm very, very happy that New York Post captured everything. And I'm now reporting it for the American audience, enlightened, conscientious audience to read. People wonder why God blessed white people. Do you know why God blessed them? Because at least no matter how evil they are, after all said and done, they have conscience. That is the difference between white people and black people. The thing about us is that we have no soul, we have no conscience. Our wickedness has no boundary. We are so wicked that we're even wicked to our own selves. It is now taking a white man, or should I say a group of white people, to come down to Africa, to come down to the zoo, to tell the zoo animals that please, terrible things happening in your country. A place where self-defense is a crime, only in the zoo. People can go and read up on it if they want to. It is everywhere. It is not hidden. How Fulani people, let us forget all this tag of terrorism. These are Fulani people seeking to extend their influence to the Atlantic Ocean by killing, pillaging, destroying, raping, and maiming people through fear, because it has worked. Fulani used fear to subdue the Yoruba race. Fear. They subdued them. Let's hope that Amotekun will redress all of that nonsense. Used fear to suppress the Yoruba race, conquered them and subdued them, and made them to support evil for very many years. For very many years, the Yorubas were supporting the Fulani, supporting their evil. They didn't know it was going to come to them. And today it has come to them. And they have formed Amotekun to say that what IPOB have been saying all along is actually not only factual, but correct. And you would think that they are killing our people, slaughtering Judeo-Christians all over the place, that we have learned something. Of course we have not. Let me tell you the irony of this whole thing and the saddest part of it all. Do you know that do you know that Buratai said, Buratai, the Brono man, the Fulani Brono man, who said that people should copy him as a general? Hey, Lord have mercy. Do you know what they're planning to do? They said they're coming to Ebonyi to recruit mercenaries that will go and fight Boko Haram in the north. But in Ebonyi, you have 3 military barracks in Ebonyi. You have one in Ohafia. You have one in Onisha. You have one military barracks in Obinze. You have one in Asa. You have one at Tungwa High School. You have one at Obehe. You have 4 in Iguacha. None of these are army formations. These are military barracks staffed with Fulani people. They won't set them to the north. They went to their slave state, Ebonyi, to go and recruit people that will fight Boko Haram. And some of us don't have any brain. They are going to Ebonyi because they want to deplete our numbers. They take you to the north. They tell Boko Haram where you are. They will come down and kill you. And now they will bury you in the north. They won't bring your body back to the village. You will die and they will bury you in the north. So that when they march into Ebonyi, there will be no resistance. Why have they chosen Ebonyi State? Because they know IPOB is there. So they are hoping to use money to entice us. To entice IP, let us bring money. There for money, tell your people, let them come and join. Let them come and join. We'll pay them. They can go to the north and fight. They don't know that the people confronting Fulani headsmen in Ebonyi State is loyal to Nnamdi Kanu, not to Dave Umahi. They don't know. They don't understand that. They are loyal to IPOB. They don't understand it. But they will very soon. The same thing I said to Southeast governors and South. None of you can form anything without IPOB. You cannot. If you call a meeting to recruit people, I will announce it on air. Nobody should go there. If you go there, you will not see anybody. Then the world will know who commands the people on the ground in the east. Let them try if they want to. Let them try. Then we'll tell them who commands the people on the ground in the east. That is why Buratai's mission will fail. We are not hungry people. We are IPOB. Our life is dedicated towards restoring Biafra. A land for all, free, where freedom will reign forever and ever. Not like any other useless African country. I keep saying it all the time. There is no country in Africa that is functioning properly. Biafra will be the first country in Africa that will function properly, like a civilized society. That is why Buratai's mission in Ebonyi will fail. Your own people are the ones who are fomenting trouble. You are the bandits, you are the terrorists, you are the killers, you are the murderers. You now want to come to peaceful Biafra land to come and recruit people to go and fight for you in the north. Can you believe such utter garbage and nonsense? It's happening because our people are very hungry. The same thing I'm saying tonight. Because some people are using this Buratai's method to come into IPOB by forming groups within IPOB. If you know whoever is responsible for the group called Hardcore, go and tell that very person that their days are numbered. There is no group within IPOB, no group of people. It's impossible. Nothing, no rubbish like Hardcore, no nonsense. The same thing that Buratai is doing is what they plan to do in IPOB by infiltrating, forming groups, little groups here and there, with fancy names. All that rubbish ends tonight. I have given instructions to our volunteers. If any idiot is as good as calling himself or herself a hardcore from tomorrow morning, you will see what will happen to you. We are one IPOB, one family, indivisible under God. No name within, no faction, no cabal, no group. Just one IPOB, only one, not two, not three, not one. Anybody identifying him or herself with any set of people called hardcore from tonight to deceased. If by tomorrow you continue, whatever happens to you, you will take it that way. Buratai is in Ebonyi State trying to recruit people. The same people they are killing. So when you deplete our numbers in Ebonyi, then IPOB can no longer fight Fulani headsmen. Do you know how many people we have lost in Ebonyi State since September of last year? Some of you do not know. Because white newspaper haven't carried it yet. Or channels have not reported it yet to you. That's why you don't know what's going on in Ebonyi. We are locked in a very bitter war of attrition with Fulani invaders in Ebonyi. They have tried, it didn't work. They have now gone to Enugu. We'll meet them in Enugu very shortly. We'll meet them in Enugu very, I'm telling you, watch this space. We'll confront them in Enugu very shortly. And then you'll hear the story. And they will run from Enugu as well. Or maybe Buratai, maybe this time Abakari will come to recruit Enugu youths around Onsuka to go and fight Boko Haram in the north. What did Biafrans do that they said no Biafran can ever be the president of Nigeria? Jonathan was an accident, please. That's why he couldn't win the next election. A pure accident. So let's not even go there. What I'm asking this very evening is this in Biafra, because it's morning for some people, afternoon for some, and night for some other people as well. Or morning, as the case may be, depending on where you are. What is it? What is the crime? I use an Igbo man as an example. Why an Igbo man or woman cannot be the president of Nigeria? But people who generated 5 terror groups, they have automatic tickets to presidency, courtesy of the British government. Very sad indeed, isn't it? Very, very sad. Buratai is wasting his time. Anybody working with him, you are all wasting your time in Ebonyi. Because there will be nobody from Ebonyi going to the north to go and fight. Nobody can fight Boko Haram and leave our borders porous and vulnerable that the Janjaweed may come in and take us over. It can never, ever happen, not now, not in the future, not ever. The same rubbish that others are trying to do in IPOB, telling me we are called hardcore. Inside IPOB, one of us. Hey, God forbid, Satan. Inside IPO, you have another group called hardcore. Once you're under oath, you're hardcore already. Once you're under oath, you are one of us. So why do you have to identify yourself? There is no other group that exists within that. It is impossible. Absolutely impossible. No other group within. If you like, you try. And we'll set an example with you. Next time you mind your business. You can go and try all that rubbish in Ohaneze. You know, have you seen what I have done to Ohaneze? Uche Okuku is a traitor. Uche Okuku is a traitor. I used to see him as a brother before. He's from Ikwede. We are all the same Igbo people. We know that very well. But he is a traitor. You have seen the way that Fulani used him to infiltrate Ohaneze. He was made the Secretary General of Ohaneze. As stupid as Ohaneze were before, they even became more stupid with Uche Okuku as the secretary. He's been expelled, but he has some brown envelopes, so he will keep issuing press statements, and the media will keep carrying it. That is what they are trying to use this hardcore to do within IPOB. They become part and parcel of IPOB, and in the end, what happens? They start issuing counter command. Look at Uche Okuku. Supporting Hope Uzodinma, supporting every Fulani agenda just because of money. He wants a good life. These people do not know what leadership is all about. They don't understand what sacrifice is all about. They have no clue. They have no idea. That is why Ohanese is rudderless today. That is why they have no direction. That is why they have no purpose. That is why they have no meaning. The leadership of Ohanese was bad. But Fulani Caliphate needed somebody to do their work for them. They took Uche Okuku and gave him some cash. So they're talking like the idiot that he is. Go and check out his press statements. It is in support of terrorists from the north. This was the nonsense Ohanese brought on itself because it does not understand the meaning of discipline. In IPOB, we do. There is no other group in IPOB. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. If you like, you try it tomorrow morning. Write in any forum that you are hardcore. We will set an example with you that others will learn from. Even France, as of today, now recognize that I salute the French ambassador. I must say this. His name is Jerome Pasquet. The British High Commissioner can never say this. Because some of you don't know the truth, but I will tell you. For every barrel of oil that Nigeria sells from Biafra land, Britain gets 13. Write it down on a piece of paper. For each barrel of crude oil that Nigeria lifts and exports, Britain gets 13 for free. That is why Britain would never allow Nigeria to break. But I'm saying to Britain that you're not God. If you cling on to Nigeria, hoping that your enslavement of Biafra land will suffice, then you are grossly mistaken. The God in heaven will destroy Britain. Write it down on a piece of paper. As I speak, you write it down on a piece of paper. What is today's date again? Today is the 9th day of February 2020. Write it down. If Britain continues this very devilish colonialism going on with the help of their Fulani partners in Biafra land, every single barrel of crude oil you lift from Biafra land, every one single barrel you lift, Britain collects 13 barrels of oil. That is why they cannot speak. The American ambassador has been bribed to the point that she doesn't know her left from her right anymore. But the French, they are speaking. Don't French have interest? They have ELF, petroleum company. No matter what you say about them in relation to other countries in West Africa, at least sometimes they speak the truth. Because if you make yourself stupid, kids will play with you. If everybody, should I say every nation around the world guard the economy very selfishly, but in Africa they don't do that. If you don't, people will come in. As I gave this analogy a while ago, I said in our bodies there are bacteria and pathogens seeking to kill us every blessed day. The job of the white blood cells in your body is to fight those pathogens, to fight all those alien bodies and to try and keep you alive. If your white blood cells shuts down, which is what HIV/AIDS does to the body, it will allow you to become invaded, not just infected, by various viruses and bacteria, and you will die. That's how life is. You have to be on guard all the time. So if you're so foolish from Africa that your country doesn't know basic, economic interest and protection of national interest, then it's their fault. People will always seek to take advantage of you. France have spoken. Their ambassador to Nigeria have spoken, Jerome Pasquale. What did he say? He said that there is efforts to find sustainable solution to insecurity in Nigeria, especially in Fulani land in the north, is inadequate. That the country itself is not doing enough to subdue insecurity and terrorism. Do you know why? Because the people you're asking, it's just like asking Dracula to be in charge of a blood bank. Dracula, oh, please, you see this blood, don't drink it, or make sure it's there in the morning. Dracula will say yes. You come back in the morning and the blood is gone. I'm drank all of them. Asking Dracula to be in charge of blood bank. Is this not possible? Asking Abakiari, Buratai, the same people that formed Boko Haram, the same people that formed ISIS in West Africa, to go and combat this. You are talking rubbish. It can never happen. These are the people that formed ISIS. These are the people that formed Boko Haram. These are the people that formed Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. These are the people that formed, what's that one again? Not just Fulani headsmen and bandits and Saru or whatever it's called. It's them. People they see these things. Oh, brother, you should copy him. So people should copy a general that sets up terror groups to sustain themselves in power. It's a very big industry in the north. Terrorism is one huge industry. They go to EU. We are suffering from Boko Haram. Give us money. EU will give them money. They'll pocket it. They go to US. Oh, this terrorism menace in the north. But ask them, who started Boko Haram? Who gave them arms? Who said they were their brothers? Who said that bandits should not be touched? Who said that Miyetti Allah, the fourth most deadly terror group in the world, is a legitimate stakeholder in government? The same terrorist. Look at Obiano in Anambra. IPOB should be proscribed. But some of you may have heard that in the Anambra stakeholders meeting the other day, Miyetti Allah walked out. They are upset. Terrorists, they invited them in Anambra State. I'm sure some of you, you support Obiano, don't you? He invited terrorists, those killing our people in our land, to come to a meeting. But IPOB should be proscribed. And you're telling me that some of us are normal? You're telling me that our brain is working properly? You're telling me that we are sensible people? Of course, some of us are not. We are not. There was a workshop in Abuja, not workshop where you make chairs or tables, no. Where they gather together to talk. You know, the same talking shop they have all the time. You know, they were talking about no electricity, no good roads for 60 years. They're still discussing the same issue till today. That's what they're doing, talking about addressing rural insecurity and violence in northwestern Nigeria when the people themselves are the bandits. They are searching for common ground. Always seeking, oh, let us not allow Nigeria to break. Should Nigeria break, this oil that Britain is getting for free, it won't get it. Because let me tell you another thing that you don't know following Brexit. If Britain is denied access to the oil and Biafra land, Britain will become bankrupt within 8 months. The economy will be devastated within 8 months. So what is sustaining they don't manufacture anything. The only thing sustaining the British economy is the money they steal from Biafra land. The resources they steal, that's all. So you don't know that? Of course we do. And that is why we tell you the truth. They keep organizing themselves. Pastoral this, they are talking, they want to keep the zoo one. Keeping Nigeria one is a task that must be done. Even the idiots saying it do not understand why Britain wants Nigeria to be one. Britain needs the Fulani, ill-educated, backward people to be in charge. Because the only thing that matters to the Fulani is to be in charge of the zoo. Britain will accommodate their backwardness, their primitivity, and their stupidity, as long as they steal however amount of oil that they want on a daily basis. If you talk, they assassinate you. As simple as that. But we'll continue to speak the truth, because the truth must be spoken at all times. They can organize as many jamborees as they like in the zoo. You can never solve the problem. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. And as we say to them all the time, what they're doing is a waste of time. A complete and utter waste of time. There is no way on this earth that the zoo can come back from the brink. It is impossible. They have crossed the point of no return. The point of no return. Who is going to fight insecurity? When Buhari was alive, all of you can remember, ask yourself this question. Why is it that all of a sudden, when the old Buhari was alive, the dictator was alive, he said that all service chiefs should operate from Borno? Have you all forgotten? To tell you that Buhari is dead, this Jubril al-Sudani cannot order anybody to do anything. Are you telling me that if the old Buhari were to be alive, all these things will be happening even in his own state that is Katsina? He will keep quiet. That was the man that ordered every service chief to head all the way to Borno to set up their command headquarters there. To tell you that Buhari is dead, I can tell you that Jubril can never ever issue such an order now. Let Jubril ask them to go to Borno. Let's see what will happen. They will send him to London for medical treatment. That is why their house is on fire. That is why Abba Kyari versus Monguno, they said that Buhari now recognizes his chief of staff as his deputy president. This is from the Emir of Gwandu. Are you people listening? Are my Yoruba brothers listening? Yemi Osinbajo is a cosmetic vice president. Can you hear me here now? Abba Kyari, the Emir of Gwandu, is telling you that Buhari, which is of course, we know is Jubril, recognizes Abba Kyari as the deputy president. That was before he died now. Can you see what is happening in the zoo? If you go to America, they have bribed some of them, especially those in the Democratic Party. They bribe them. Oh, no, Nigeria is a democracy. In a democracy, the chief of staff to the president is the president. Openly, it's not hidden. And people are pretending somehow they do not understand what is happening. They do not know what is going on. Our radio stations are live across Biafra land in everywhere, all the way to Okibu Circle, everywhere is receiving Radio Biafra this evening. On CHK, on FM, that is. The Emir of Gwandu has confirmed it. But to some people, it doesn't matter as long as he's there. He's answering Vice President. They call him His Excellency. He's Yosibajo. He's from our state. He's our turn. Nothing matters. That is why white people are better than black people. I say it openly if you like. I'm starting my tour of the world next month. I hope coronavirus will be gone by then. Confront me if you doubt or question anything that I'm telling you. The way black people reason is flawed. I am a black man, but I'm telling you the way we reason, the way we analyze things, there is something fundamentally wrong with our brain. There is something wrong with us. If there is nothing wrong with our brain, I don't know how Aisha Buhari will open her mouth and say that she wants the security of Nigeria restructured or re-examined. The wife of the president. The president is now telling, oh my dear Lord, what type of God made what type of God created black people? I don't understand it. Are you telling me that Buhari is alive and Aisha Buhari wants security structure re-examined? The same woman who should be in Zaoza room? Have you forgotten? The same woman that the dead Buhari told Angela Merkel that her position is in the other room, in the bedroom, and to cook for him, not to be making policy statements. The same Aisha is now talking without any hindrance. And people are saying Buhari is alive. Oh, dear me. Let us see what Aisha has to say. Because I'm telling you, whoever created Nigeria, whoever thought of putting that contraption together, must be the lieutenant of Lucifer. Not be working hand in hand with the devil. I'm telling you the truth. Because not only is Nigeria a contraption, those who are within Nigeria, those who identify themselves as Nigerians, believe you me, I can never ever regard you as a human being. Once you say you're a Nigerian, to me, you're an animal. This news was carried by Daily Trust newspaper. The time now is 27 minutes past the top of the hour wherever you are in the world. That's how you know it's a live program. 27 past the top of the hour, regardless of where you are. That's what it is. The lady in Zaoza room is the one now telling you how to restructure your security. And I'm asking, where is your husband? She's a Muslim. She practices Islam. When the husband is talking, she shouldn't talk. First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, yesterday urged synergy among all security agencies to re-strategize and re-examine the security structure with a view to stem the rising cases of terrorism in Nigeria. They have failed. And some people will say that Buhari is still alive. Mad people everywhere. She made the call at an international conference on state and security held at the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna. No longer Buhari to go to Defense Academy to speak. It is now the wife. She's part of the what I call the triumvirate of Abba Kyari, Aisha Buhari, and Buratai. They're the ones running this. The other ones are in the Issa Funtua and Lawal and the rest are in the background. All they do out of courtesy, they inform Bola Ahmed Tinubu and promise him presidency 2023. Don't worry, you get it. Just cover us. Let us keep going. That is why they have covered the greatest fraud of all time. That Buhari is no more. The wife made the call at Nigeria Defense Academy. Is she an army officer? Is she holding any major policy portfolio in the government? The answer is no. Just ordinary first lady that said even her office doesn't exist. Before Buhari died, he said that her office doesn't exist. There is no office of first lady. Go and ask. Go and research it. It is there in the papers. Today, she has her own crest. First lady of Nigeria. And the baboons and the monkeys that Buhari said will be soaked in blood are today really soaked in blood, isn't it? and the media are quiet over it. Aisha is making bold statement on security in the country, and you're telling me that the husband is alive. Some people are indeed very, very deaf. No wonder they came to Africa and harvested us as you harvest mango and tomatoes. Harvest us, pack us in ships in our stupidity and took us to Caribbean to go and work for free for 250 years. Any group of people that reason the way Nigerians reason should be made to work for free all over the world. I'm telling you the truth. Slaves are better than them. Aisha Buhari talking about security in Nigeria, and you're telling me the husband is alive. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. It's a travesty. A complete and utter travesty. Somebody said, not me, somebody said that in the present setup in Nigeria, the public face of the administration is Buhari's, while the hand that rocks the system belongs to Abba Kyari as alternate president from Daily Trust, which is Fulani newspaper. Some of you are still sheepishly and mopishly looking. Cattle on this Yoji. I don't know what is wrong with black people. I don't know what is wrong with them, their brain. I don't know where they got it from. Maybe from chimpanzees. Unbelievable. The face of Buhari and hands of Kyari. And I want this thing to put everybody so the world can see it. You know, when I preach this way, some people get upset. They say, oh, he's insulting black people. Why won't I insult you? You are foolish. I will insult you. If you're stupid, I will insult you. If you do something nice, I will praise you. That's how I am. This is, in fact, it was published by Daily Trust, date February 23rd, 2020 at 1:09 a.m. The caption, or should I say, the headline is Face of Buhari, Hands of Kyari. For those who are too stupid to comprehend. The world will be wondering why am I insulting my fellow black people today. I'm insulting them, in case you're a white person and you're listening. I'm insulting us because we are foolish. We are black and we are very foolish. We do not reason very well. That is the truth. That is the fact of the matter. That is why crude oil will be coming out of the ground and we don't have any good roads. We have no electricity. That is why crude oil will come out of the ground. We export the crude oil and then import refined petrol. Anybody who does that, any group of people that does that do not deserve to be called human beings. That is a fact of life. You are a mother, for instance. You gave birth to a child beside a clean flowing spring, clean water. And your child is crying, thirsty. You cannot stretch out your arm to fetch simple water to feed that baby. If you had given birth to this child on top of Mount Everest, it's understandable. You gave birth to a child beside a free-flowing water, clean water. To stretch out your hand to scoop up water to feed that baby is difficult for you. In the process of contemplating, oh, where do I get water from? I hope somebody can bring me pure water. There is a river flowing nearby. A spring, clean water. You couldn't stretch out your hand to scoop up some water for the child to drink. In that process of your stupidity, the child died. And then you start blaming God in heaven for making you childless, for taking the life of your child, of your baby. But there was a stream flowing by. All you could have done is to just stretch out your hand and pick up the water. That is why in Africa we have everything from iron to bronze to bauxite to everything, name it. For us, despite our years of engineering and PhD everywhere, I'm a doctor, PhD. We cannot convert any of these things to serve our own needs and purpose. It will take a white man to travel all the way, maybe from, now it's Chinese, to come and tell us, oh, this is iron ore. You have to smelt it and do this. Use it to build the panels of a vehicle and all these things. But it's there. And you have engineers. And you want me to respect you? You must be drunk. You must be insane. I cannot. Until we learn how to reason, until black people learn how to reason, I can never respect you. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. Face of Buhari, Hands of Kyari. That is the title of the, should I say, article. the question of who actually runs the complex machinery of the federal government of Nigeria has long been on the lips of not a few citizens in various walks of life, because I told them that Buhari is dead, and it is the truth. They know that Abba Kyari is running the place, but the hitman they have is Buratai. If you make noise, they send the detachment of SARS or army to go and kill you and your family. So everybody is terrified of this Fulani gang, this Fulani, mafiosi, this gang of killers and murderers. And to divert your attention away from the truth, from their embezzlement and their criminality, they floated 5 terror groups at the same time. 5 terror groups. The only place in the world with 5 terror groups is Nigeria. The only place on this earth. 5 indigenous, homegrown terror groups. And some of you, it's our turn in 2092. It's our turn in 2058. It's my turn of my village to produce the governor. It's the turn of that village to produce the deputy. And you want me to respect you as a black person? You are certifiably insane. I want you to know, I want the world to know that we know that the way we reason as black people was why whites came to Africa and took us as slaves to the West Indies to go and work in sugarcane, cotton and tobacco plantations. I want our people to understand that those that reason the way we do right now, they never ever survive. Never. Our only way out is to reason properly the IPOB way. See the truth and you speak it, and you damn the consequences. For the truth shall set you free. The reason why IPOB is still standing till today is because we anchor all that we do on the truth. Irreducible. It cannot be taken away. It doesn't matter what they do, what Facebook does, what our satellite provides. It doesn't matter who the zoo may have bribed to stop us. They know we are unstoppable. Our enemies understand it. That this very movement, this very IPOB is unstoppable. You cannot stop us. The hands of, what is it? The face of Buhari, the hands of Abba Kyari running the zoo, and everybody's quiet about it. Your main concern is IPOB, and they're killing you. Your main concern is IPOB. This is from Daily Trust. They go and Google it. Face of Buhari, hands of Kyari. And you're telling me that Buhari is alive. Mad people everywhere. It is only the man I call a father, Paya Adebanjo. I wish every Yoruba person can be like him. A man of integrity and honor. Very brave. Very, very brave. Do you want to know what he said? He said that Buhari not in charge. Buhari is not in charge. He said it. Buhari, this is from Aya Adebanjo. Buhari is not in charge. He spoke to an online publication. He said it. Unbelievable. Why does everybody keep doubting that Buhari is in charge? This is from Paya. I'm quoting him verbatim. Why does everybody keep doubting that Buhari is in charge? That incident is not the first, which shows you that Buhari is completely not in charge. Remember when personnel of the EFCC and intelligence service clashed at the gate of one of them? What happened? When security operatives clashed in front of the National Assembly and the vice president took action, what happened? I no longer take any action from this government seriously. People, military, commanders are being killed. And he keeps on claiming he's in charge. This is from Paya Adebanjo. At least people now realize and understand that we speak the truth always. Without fear and without any favors. We speak the truth. That Buhari is no more. That is why the killing, the barbarism, the primitivity is deepening on a daily basis. Anybody telling you that the world can solve it is they're daydreaming. The only solution is dissolution. referendum and dissolution. Nothing else will work. Nothing else will work. If you remain in Nigeria, you will die in Nigeria. You will perish in Nigeria. As I speak, you write it down on a piece of paper. I am very happy that at least Olufalaye as well have now spoken. He said that the Amotekun is the arrival of Yoruba freedom. He did not mince words. Amotekun is the arrival of Yoruba freedom. But when we floated BSS, it was our own people that said, ban them, kill them, jail them, shoot them, invade Afarubu. Our own people. But look at least I give Yorubas credit for this. Olufalaye have spoken. Amotekun is the arrival of Yoruba freedom. He used the word freedom because they want to be free. While Yoruba is rejecting the inclusion of Mieti Allah in Amotekun, in Anambra, Obiana is inviting them to Governor's Lodge to have a meeting on how to kill our people in Anambra State. Do you now see the difference? Can you see the difference between them, between Yoruba people and Biafrans? People who understand where they're going to. Say whatever you like about them, at least when they come together to decide on a political matter, they execute it with clinical precision. And that is exactly what they have done and will continue to do for the foreseeable future. It gladdens my heart that Amotekun is here to stay. It is not going away at all, at all, at all. And as all these things are happening, in our own Delta State in Biafra land, our people have been slaughtered into submission. And as I told you before, some of you don't understand what is going on in this zoo. I told you that they have policemen everywhere, Fulani police commissioners, in order to engender their program of Fulanization. Listen very carefully to this. According to Vanguard News, isn't it? Carried this? It's Vanguard, I believe. Vanguard carried it on the 22nd of February, 2020. What did Vanguard say? Residents of some communities in Delta have descended on the State Commissioner of Police. What's his name? Hafiz Inuwa, from the north. Not from the north, I would say from Arewa. Accusing him of compromise in the manner that he handled last week's reported attacks on communities in Uweru Kingdom in Ughelli North local government area of the state by armed Fulani headsmen that killed 8 people. Fulani headsmen came to Delta State, Biafra land, and killed 8 people. The commissioner of police in that state is a Fulani man. He did not arrest any of them. Of course not. He actually came out to accuse the villagers of spreading rumors and fears. Unbelievable. The indigents of Agadama, Ohoro, and other communities, farming villages in the kingdom had over the years lamented the incessant attacks on them by armed Fulani headsmen who brought their cattle to the area for grazing. This is in Delta. Former Bendel, former Niger Delta, former South, former South. I don't know the name they'll give them next year. What is happening in Delta State? They're killing people. These are some of them who are, in fact, it's not some of them. Most are fake names. Saying we are Delta. We are not part of Biafra. Now the Fulani headsmen have come, slaughtering them. Who did they run to? They ran to a Fulani commissioner of police. Why do you think they make their people commissioner of police everywhere? Why do you think they have army barracks everywhere, staffed by Fulani officers? So that when they are killing you, when they come to your village and they massacre everybody, when you run to the police will tell you you're peddling. In fact, they will arrest you for peddling wrong information. That's what is happening all over the place. That is why they don't want any regional policing. That is why they don't want any state policing that will make the police commissioner accountable to people of the state. Of course not. He's accountable to a Fulani man in Abuja. And people carry on every blessed day as if there is nothing wrong. These are some of the things we're going to highlight in our march. Our 1 million man march in Washington, on June the 20th. I will be in Washington. In fact, I will speak at exactly the same place that most great people have spoken in the past. Not that I'm seeking to put myself in their esteemed position. Of course, I'm not worthy. But we shall be in Washington. And everybody is invited. Everybody. If your ethnic group is being persecuted, if you're a Christian, if you are a Judeo-Christian, if you are an ethnic minority in the north, if you are the receiving end of Fulani Janjaweedism, I will call it, march with us in Washington on the 20th, and you see what will happen. We are going to the doorstep of the lawmakers in America. We are going to Capitol Hill itself. We have secured our permit. The DC police said we can march. Maryland police said we can march. Virginia State Police said we can march. We are going to march on Washington. We are going to march on that very city. People should take time off work. Bring your children, bring your friends, bring your families. On the 20th of June 2020, we will lock down Washington, D.C. They will know that Biafrans have come. They will know how strong we are. Even our dictators will know how formidable we are. That day we unleash the might of the Biafra movement upon this very earth, from where it will continue to grow until Biafra is restored in our time. In our time, not next generation, but this very one that we exist in. Because the police commissioners that you have everywhere are answerable to Fulani people. It is their plan as they kill, as they pillage, as they slaughter from town to town, village to village, hamlet to hamlet. You report to the nearest barracks or nearest police station as a Fulani man. You are wasting your time. Your people are dying. When you try to set up a group to try to defend yourself, they say that what you're doing is wrong. It is not according to the Constitution. That is how evil they are. They have cornered everywhere. That is why they keep gerrymandering election results, so to speak. Keep imposing puppets to frighten everybody else around them. That if you do not comply with what we are telling you, then you will suffer it. That is why you have cowards as your governors. And that is why the death is continuing on a daily basis. All you can do is to cry and lament, as I told you, you will. I said I warned people in that zoo that you will cry, but nobody will listen to you. It's in one of my broadcasts. You will cry, but nobody will listen to you. That is the price you pay for treachery, for betrayal of Biafra. Between 67 and 70, everybody is today suffering. Everybody will suffer. I said everybody will. They will. Until they come to their senses, until they realize that the only solution is separation. The only solution is separation. There is no other way to go about it. As Gowon continues to pray, for every day he's praying for Nigeria's unity. The same unity he said, there is no victor, no vanquish, we have won them. You know, Fulani used him very well as a willing tool, made him a head of state, promoted him to whatever rubbish he was. He thought that killing Biafrans and killing Igbo people would somehow help him. He has no peace. He's running from place to place, saying you should pray for Nigeria. Pray for which Nigeria? Nigeria that was formed by Britain. In fact, one of our brothers wrote what I would call an intelligent but deceptive article. I think he was trying to refer to, he was making reference to one of my broadcasts where I said that Nigeria is meaningless. Then he also wrote that he was suggesting that we answer Ikenga Republic, that Biafra is also meaningless. And I couldn't stop laughing when I read his piece. I couldn't stop laughing because he forgot one thing about our people, that every name that we bear has a meaning. I repeat, every name that we bear has a meaning. People are telling me, oh, but Biafra is named by Portuguese explorers. I said to them, you see how ignorant you are. I want you to go to the very ancient maps of, I think one was 1472. Go and check it very clearly. Then when the Portuguese came, they referred to people by their indigenous names. That is why the only thing that you will see there is Zamfara, Bini, and Biafra. And I have said it before, that before we settle with the name Biafra, there have been series of names before that. And I have the maps to prove them. Biafra, which is B-I-A-F-A-R. There was Biafraes, B-I-A-F-R-A-R-E-S. There was Biafra, and I have said this repeatedly on air. People do not listen. The name of my village is Afara. If you put B-I, which is come, it becomes Biafra. Because in my village, Afara means join together. There is Afara in Ikeduru in Imo State. There is also Afara in Abagana in Anambra State. Understand this very clearly. Afara means come and join. The name Biafra simply means come and join. It has been in existence before anybody walked in the geographical space called Portugal. I have said it before that our ancestors are the very oldest people on the face of this very planet. That is why in every language around the world, in every language, there is an Igbo word in it. I said in every language that people speak, you find the same resonance in Igbo language. You see, let me put it to you this way so that you understand very well. You know, even in England, or should I say in Britain, they have Mr. White and Mr. Black. It's a name, it's a very common name. You can Google it if you want. The same way that we answer Wokocha and Wokoji. Do you know that the Fulanese don't have the same? No other people does. Are you following what I'm saying? I just want to give you a very simple, clean example that our people are actually old. Everybody borrowed from the ancient Igbo Biafran culture. I said everybody on the face of this very earth, everybody. I'll give you a very simple example. Even in the names that people bear. If you go anywhere else in West Africa, and see people answering Wokocha, which is Mr. White, or Wokoji, Mr. Black, then don't believe me anymore. Now you understand me? I think that will be a lecture for another day. Biafra is our name. From Biafra, from the Afar region of Ethiopia. I won't get to I've lectured on this thing many times before. There were 3 migrations to Biafra land. One came directly before the Exodus from Egypt and came all the way from Sudan, through Niger, through Yoruba land, into the land of Biafra. They settled around Enugu State. And as a symbol of their settlement, they replicated the same pyramid that they built in Egypt. The same dwarf pyramids that you have in Giza. You have it at Nsude. In Enugu State. Are you listening to me? That is the only place where you have the same pyramids that were built in Egypt. Only in Biafra land. Only in Enugu. Are you following me very carefully? There was another wave of migration that came through Ethiopia, that settled at the Afar region and continued to migrate until they got to Biafra land. Then there was another 3rd wave when the house of God fell, near where I actually live in Israel. The same land, the same place. It's very interesting. The same place where I live, where I stay in Israel, was the same place. The 3rd and the final wave of our ancestors left to come to Biafra land. It is God's territory. If you go there, it's written on the signboard, you see it there. The same red earth. Our church had the same red earth you find in Biafra. And the same, I said the same. It's there till tomorrow morning. That is why every name that we bear give glory to God in heaven. We use our names to worship God in heaven. That is why we answer Chineke, the children of the Most High. People are called Nwachuku. No other place on this earth, apart from Israel and in Biafra land, do people worship God in heaven by the name they give to their children. But as these three waves we are coming there, we are already those who were there. I have said this before. The original processors of palm oil, in other words, there are 4 heads that make up Biafra land. 4. Eke Oria Fandonkwo. The same way you have it in Idoma land. Eke 4 market days in Idoma land. Eke Oria Fandonkwo. 4 heads. The Bijangos, the oldest, the ancient of the ancients, were there waiting, and they accepted these 3 waves that came in from Egypt, from Abyssinia, and then from the Holy Land itself. Now you understand very carefully that Biafra is not an accident. It is something that has been there before time even began. You must understand this. Tell me which other people answer Nwoko Chanwoko G. If you go, you have them, Mr. Brown, Mr. White, Mr. Red, and all the rest of it. We have them in abundance. If you go to anywhere else, when I was lecturing students, or when I wouldn't say I was lecturing them, I was giving an address to students at Tel Aviv University. And somebody asked me, what is the proof that you have of the affinity between Israel and Biafra? I said, it is only in Biafra land that you have proof that Jews actually built the pyramid in Egypt. And she said, what do you exactly mean by that? I said, if you come to Sudan, if you come to Enugu State, I will show you dwarf pyramid, exact replica of what you have in Egypt. How did they build it? With you're telling me that people just sat down and built a pyramid in Enugu State without knowledge of what was happening in Egypt? You know, some people don't study very well. You know, I don't blame them. I blame the Zoo University. Zoo. That's what it does to their brain. Go on is praying while we are marching relentlessly and remorselessly towards the restoration of Biafra. And that I say it is the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth. The very epicenter of creation itself. 0 longitude and 0 latitude. The very center of beginning itself. Britain stole this very time and moved it 1 hour to the left and said it, and called it Greenwich Mean Time. And when I asked them, where is the 0, which is +1, which is 1 hour, of course. Longitude to the left. I asked them, in England, but where is the 0? At least 0 is the beginning of all numbers. You have 0, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Britain is 1, which is 1 hour to the left, on the same longitudinal line with Ghana. I asked them, but where is the 0 latitude? You know, because we are, as you know, longitude runs from the North Pole to the South Pole, and latitude runs from east to west around the globe, going to the north, and also going to the polar regions, to the north and to the south. And I asked them, so where is this 0 of longitude? They said it's in Biafra waters. And where is latitude in Biafra waters? So that means that is the actual center of time itself, 0, from where universe itself began, in the land of the ancients, in Biafra land, in our own waters, in the bite of Biafra. And they didn't kick me out of the class, actually, as a matter of fact. But I'm sure maybe that was the day they started to plan to even clamp down harder on anything to do with Biafra. They don't want humanity to know that we are the beginners of everything. The very beginning. That was why the pilgrims migrated all the way from the Holy Land of Israel. They kept walking. They transversed everywhere until they came to Biafra land. Once they crossed the Mambala River, they said, here we have landed. Where God in heaven said we must be. He landed there and said, here, I will found my dynasty. And it is till this very day, Tumueri and Aguleri. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter how you massage history. It's a fact. It is there, staring you in the face. Has any of you been to Aguleri before and seen the marriage of the 2 trees? Have you seen it before? 2 trees sharing one root. 2 trees connected. You will see it with your 2 eyes. Never anywhere in the world has that ever happened before. I said, nowhere on this earth do you have two trees sharing the same root. These are two huge trees, thousands of years old. Nowhere else. Only in Biafra land, the land of the ancients. And you have people that didn't go to school come to argue with us when they know nothing about what they're arguing about. Biafra is very old, and it is real, older than Portugal itself, and that is a fact of life. Gowon is praying whilst we are looking for Biafra, and there is nothing anybody can do about it because Biafra is going to come. This is very, very, we're live and direct, this top of the hour, this very moment. It is 9 p.m. now, of course, in Biafra land. In Chad, according to BBC, they are executing Boko Haram members and terrorists. But in Nigeria, they're recruiting them into the army. They want to send them abroad to go and... In fact, I am warning... let me also warn the West and warn USA as well. They want to... What Abba Kyari and Buratai want to do is to export terrorists to the West. They claim they are giving them rehabilitation. In Chad, they are executing terrorists, which is what they should do. But in Nigeria, they are recruiting them into the army. Now the army is full. They now want to send them abroad. I want to let the world know that it was the same way that ISIS used refugees to plant terrorists all across Europe. It's exactly what Nigeria is trying to do. Nigeria is trying to complement the work of ISIS by legitimately sending terrorists abroad, claiming they're going to study. I am warning the US mission and UK High Commission that this is what is going to happen. And of course, we have told our friends in Washington exactly what is going on. And they will deny them visas, they won't give it to them. They may send them to Saudi Arabia to get more training on how to blow up human beings, on how to kill people. And that is the fact of life. All this amnesty for Boko Haram is a cleverly designed scheme by the Fulani Janjaweed, the leaders of terrorism in Nigeria, which is Abba Kyari, in fact, basically the Asoro Cabal, to export terrorists abroad, legitimately. Let nobody say that IPOB did not warn them, because that is the fact. That is what is going to happen. And as we are discussing, people don't understand in Nigeria. And I say to them that sometimes as a Nigerian, I do feel sorry for you. For a Nigerian, I feel sorry for you, because as I keep saying, and I will keep saying it all the time, your stupidity, quite frankly, has no equal. Let me tell you this. In Nasarawa State in the north, in the Alamajiri north, there is a man called Governor Abdullahi Sule, who happens to be the governor of Nasarawa State. This is a publication by Zoo newspaper, so I am not telling you something that was made up, something that was fabricated, or something that we just conjured up from thin air. No, not at all. In Nasarawa State, their governor is Abdullahi Sule. Do you know what he's crying about? He said there are influx of Alamajiri in Lafia. Influx, the state capital is Lafia. There is influx of Alamajiri in the state. He raised the alarm while receiving a report on the statistics of Al-Majiri schools across the state from members of Quranic Research Association of Nigeria. In other words, Al-Majiri is hand in hand with Quran, which is a breeding ground for terrorism in the zoo. These Al-Majiri, they come from Niger Republic, from Chad, from Northern Cameroon. Nobody knows where they come from, but once you cross the border in Katsina and come into the zoo, you are a Nigerian. So when I hear people, informed commentators, talking about we Nigerians fighting to save Nigeria, and I'm saying, are you fighting to save Nigeria that includes this Al-Majiri that are always, on a daily basis, flooding in from the Sahel? They are doing street begging. From there, they go into terrorism. They recite the Quran. After a while, they go into terrorism. That is what they do in the north. And you are in the south shouting one Nigeria. We Nigerians. Does that include the Al-Majiri that have just come from Niger Republic? And from Chad and from Cameroon? That is what they have to contend with. And some people have foolishly maintained this. I'm sure they know that by now. This garbage about Igbo presidency. We are warning them. If you are campaigning for Igbo presidency or whatever presidency, you are wasting your time. We are warning you before time that you are wasting your time, energy, and effort. We are not interested in any stupid, ridiculous presidency. What we want is freedom. Not just freedom for Biafrans, but freedom for all people trapped in the demonic British colonial experiment called Nigeria. Nigeria is a curse. And if you do not end it, it will end you. It is either you end Nigeria or Nigeria will end you. It is as simple as that. Try and see what is happening. Those who were gleefully boasting that they had defeated Biafra in 1970, where are they today? That was asking for prayers. That tells you that what goes around comes around. It doesn't matter what you do, maybe because you and your family are somehow benefiting from the fraud that is the damnable zoological republic. Somehow you want Nigeria to continue. But I can assure you that Nigeria can never ever survive. It is impossible. The more you delay the dissolution and disintegration of the zoo, the more people will die. It is as simple as ABC. The more you delay, the more people will die. That is something that you ought to know. So you better kill Nigeria before Nigeria kills all of you. It will kill all of you, including those who are sponsoring them. You see Abakari, all this Fulani gang that have brought death. And you see, Nigerians are very funny people. Despite Fulani incompetence, despite the fact that Fulanis cannot control their own terrorists that they themselves created, some people are still talking about them as if they are part of any civilized, normal society. It is not possible. It is not possible. Absolutely impossible. I'm telling you, when I watch the telly or I look at people say, as a proud Nigerian, believe you me, what comes in my brain is the image of a monkey swinging from one tree to the other. I'm being very honest with you. I don't see them, I do not see them as human. I do not, because you cannot reason very well. You cannot think very well. Nigeria, my foot. Something that was created by a rogue record from Hong Kong came to your land. So that means that your ancestors never existed. They never existed until the white man came. That's what you're telling the world. They never existed. What was their name before the white man came? If you can answer that question, then you begin to realize how daft our reasoning is sometimes. A soldier goes berserk and kills fellow officers, of course. Such nonsense will continue to happen. And what are they saying now? This is the man that the world is saying, not the world, of course, I do apologize, that they're saying somewhere in Sri Lanka, somebody wants to copy him. He is the template to copy. Or that people should teach you, how do I put it, that Buratai is the man to copy. His approach is very good. What he's doing is good. Do you know what he said about Boko Haram? Military power alone cannot defeat Boko Haram, says Buratai. These were the people who we are boasting. As I'm never tired of saying, I went to Sweden. I met a very popular journalist in Sweden. And I said, he said, no, they want the general. Because... what's his name again? Is it Timumbu? Hired a very clever PR firm in America to market Buhari, the dead Buhari, in 2014, 2015. And they said he's a no-nonsense general. He's reformed Democrat. He's the one to deal with Boko Haram because he's a no-nonsense general. I said, okay, we'll see. Today, they have agreed that they cannot defeat Boko Haram. In other words, they cannot defeat the monster that they themselves created. And I don't know why Nigerians cannot call a spade a spade. You need to call a spade a spade. The people that brought death and mayhem, terrorism to Nigeria are dead Buhari, Buratai, Abakiari, Mama and Daura, Isa Funtua, and the Sultan of Sokoto. These are the people that brought death to you. But you see that the Sultan is speaking at a Muson Center in Lagos on the need for coming together as a country. But they are the ones killing you. These are the Fulani killing you. They have come to enslave you. Because Britain told them that those people in the south, they are very foolish, you know. If you work very hard, if you appoint a few warrant chiefs, which they are now doing, manipulate the governors, use money, do anything you can, you will get them. They are very foolish in the south. You colonize them, and that's what they're doing. Why do you think Hope Uzodinma is there and his supporters? Why do you think they're there? They have come to carry out the same Afonja mission in the east. Open the way. You saw them in the governor's law telling you who the emir of Mbise is going to be. The emir of Okigwe in Imo State Governor's Lodge, Douglas House. The same office that Mbakwe used. That some people are there discussing who is going to the Supreme Islamic Council of Imo State. People are saying that Hope Uzodinma should be there. Then they Fulani Turime before, during, and after the war. Anyway, they know what they have now met in IPOB, and they know they cannot go anywhere. They cannot go anywhere. And as we are lamenting, there is no road between Onitsha and Enugu, no road that is passable in the entire Biafra land. Do you know what is happening in the north? Some of you Nigerians, I feel sorry for you. You will not read this news anywhere, but we have it. Do you know that your so-called federal government, led by Abba Kyari and the Fulani Cabal, they are building a 30 billion naira road to Niger Republic? They have not built a road in Nigeria, but they're building one to Niger Republic with their people. The same band of wandering, meandering Fulani tribe. Can you see it? No roads in your villages. You cannot go to your village peacefully, but they're building those to Niger Republic. And you are in one Nigeria, saying we Nigerians, we need to get together and do this, or maybe do a revolution. We are in one Nigeria. Can you see what is happening? They are building those to Niger Republic. Not fixing the ones that are in the zoo, crumbling and decaying. Unbelievable. This is from their newspaper in the zoo. The Federal Executive Council, presided over by, they say it's President Muhammadu Buhari, whom I don't know how you can preside over FEC from a grave in Saudi Arabia. But on Wednesday, from his grave in Saudi Arabia, he presided over a meeting in Abuja and approved 30 billion for the construction of 2 roads from Sokoto and Jigawa states up to Niger Republic. And you are in one Nigeria. This is our country. This is our one Nigeria. Unbelievable. But we are here to expose the truth. And that truth must be spoken. As I said earlier, they have jailed Olisametu. Not for stealing serious money. I think maybe they jailed him because the money wasn't enough. He was insulting corruption by accepting a check of 400 million naira only. And he's in jail. Actually, they sentenced him to 39 years in prison, concurrently to be run. They are using one man called Abang, another willing to of the north. They are using him, Abang. They have jailed Olisametu for 7 years. And that is not the end of it. We shall revisit this very case in time to come. He is not alone. Our thoughts are with him and his family. Very, very important. Because what is happening to us shouldn't happen. But when you have a leadership that have sold its conscience to the devil, that is what you get. When they come for you, one after the other, they pick you off. The same thing that happened to Yoruba people after Ilorin fell into the hands of the Fulanis. They installed an emir in Ilorin instead of an Oba. From that day, they started to make use of Yoruba people. But today, they have woken up. They have realized their mistakes, and now they are fighting back. And I encourage them every step of the way. Freedom is for all. And as I have said before, so is oil and gas as well. And this is Radio Biafra. We have been on air now for, I think, approximately 2 hours. And the work we are doing is relentless, and we shall continue to do so. Let me also warn before we bring our program to a close this evening. Very important announcement that pertains to the administration and running of IPOB family worldwide. Let me make this abundantly clear this evening to all who are listening. In every country of the world, we have a national coordinator. That national coordinator represents me in that very country. Nobody, I repeat, nobody in IPOB has the right to dictate to a national coordinator what to do, because every national coordinator has a continental rep. And every continental rep sits on the DOS of IPOB, headed and chaired by Mazi Nnamdi, who now reports to my deputy, Mazi Nnamdi, who reports to me in turn. If I want to know what is happening in a country, for instance, I ask the continental rep of that very country to tell me what is going on. If I have a message for a national coordinator, I relay it via the continental rep. That is the correct process. I do not want anybody in IPOB, senior officer or otherwise, to dictate to a national coordinator what he or she should or should not do. I'm drawing that very line today. Let national coordinators carry out their duties. If you want to find out what they are doing, you go through the continental rep. The continental rep will tell you. If you have to reprimand any national coordinator, you go through their line manager, who happens to be a continental rep. I will no longer accept any direct or indirect interference in the running of any nation across the world where you have an IPOB family. Very, very important. Very, very important that we follow our procedures, our own rules. Very, very critical we do so. And my tour of Europe will be commencing very shortly. I'm sure it is next. We've not gone into next month yet. I will be touring Europe from April. And I understand there has been some last-minute changes. I will also be in the Netherlands and Belgium as well. We need to strengthen the family there. Very, very important. Wherever you are around the world, I must commend you, this very family, this very IPOB, for the wonderful work you have all been doing. We must forge ahead as one indivisible, unbreakable family. That is why both this generation and everyone to come after it will remember us. Because here on this very radio platform, this very radio Biafra, we maintain ceaselessly that Biafra is our religion. Here is where we propagate it. On this very platform is where we worship. Because Chukwukika Biam Elohim in heaven is our God. I thank you very much for listening. From me, from here, it is good evening.